Continuing our morning availability, we now welcome Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet. Still our points leader, Jimmie. 4 wins so far this season. Still our the driver to beat, or so the garage is still chasing you, it seems. Talk about coming into Michigan and your thoughts going in, getting closer to Richmond in the chase.
Yeah, time's going by pretty quick. Chase time is right around the corner. We're excited to be here. The way the 48 ran and all of Hendrick Motorsports ran here in the spring, we've all been excited to come back and hopefully have that pace and lead the race and hopefully get one of the cars in victory lane. I certainly want to get the 48 to victory lane. I've tried for a lot of years now and been very close here, but haven't been able to pull that off. We had issues that kept all 4 cars out of great finishes in the spring race, and if we can avoid the varying issues that took place, I think we stand a really good chance of getting into victory lane.
Okay, we'll open it up for questions for Jimmie. Raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll start with Kenny, then go back.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. Jimmie, we always talk about guys that have clinched a position for the chase and what they can do with the remaining races. And, are you going to test? Are you going to, try different things and everything? You've been in this position before. Have you tried different things, and how has it worked out for you? Have you learned anything because you've not had to focus on trying to get in the chase?
We've worked really hard to maintain the same mindset. There was a year where we started some radical testing and concepts with the car and got off base. It entered the chase, pretty weak and not up to par where we wanted to be. So I think we learned that lesson. I want to say that was, 07 or somewhere in there. But, since then, we really want to obviously perform as good as we can week in and week out. I think there's a lot in that. And the way things are anymore, especially with the new car, you have to bring something new to the track each week and keep evolving. So the mindset that we started the year with is really where we're at now. We're not making a stronger effort to try different things with the race car and the setup. We are fortunate to have a lot of test sessions left. We just tested in New Hampshire. We're going to test Richmond next week. We have a few more out there that we'll use and try to be prepared for the chase. But honestly, there hasn't been a different mindset this year. We've had pace. We're proud of that. We need to execute. We've left some wins on the table. We need to not do that. But we got to keep inching forward. We can't sit still. And we'll try to carry that momentum right into the start of the chase.
Okay, we got a couple of questions in the back. Go ahead.
Anthony Sabella from WILX in Lansing. Jimmie, this track has been named Track of the Year in terms of fan experience these last couple of years. How is it, would you say, in terms of drivers?
This track's always been high on the driver's list. The repave brought us back down to a pretty narrow racing groove. And in time, we know that will change and we can start racing around the top of the racetrack once again. But, the asphalt's too good these days. They just put down such good stuff that doesn't wear out or age anytime quick and pins us down to a narrower lane. But I love coming here. Those tracks worked very well with myself and the young fans. We have a package that we do here with them, and I go out and spend some time with the kids. So very proud of what this racetrack does for the fans.
Okay, we'll finish up in the back. Go ahead.
Rich Colbert, Motor Racing Network. A couple of things. First of all, you participated in the Woodward Dream Cruise yesterday. Talk about that experience. What were you driving, and how was that? And also, Bristol next week. You haven't had the success that you've obviously wanted in the past, but talk about going there next week and the challenges of getting around that track.
Yeah, the Bristol, we run well. We just, we're probably a top 3, top 5 car there in most circumstances. We're able to get a win once and definitely want to be better. Not that I'm content with running top 3, top 5, but from where I started off and being a lap down, 50 laps in and running 20th all the time there, I now enjoy going to Bristol and I'm excited to go there. For the longest time, I dreaded going there. Loved watching a race there, and being a fan, but in the car was pretty tough on me. So we certainly hope to be better and want to go to victory lane again. But the Woodward Dream Cruise, I said that right. I drove my '67 Camaro that I built in '05. It's been through a few modifications since then, but it has the LS9 engine in it right now and the C5 suspension under it with the 67 body on it. So it's a good driving car, has lots and lots of power, and then also turns and stops. So it's a fun car to drive. I was able to lay down a little rubber yesterday and drift the car around a little bit and not get pulled over and arrested, so that was fun.
Okay, we'll go to Ryan in the back and then come back up to David.
Ryan McGee, ESPN. Two questions about this track. I mean, you mentioned you haven't won here. I think it's the only track you've been to more than a dozen times that you haven't won. Do you keep that checklist of places where you haven't won? And what is it about this place? I don't want to use the phrase Achilles heel, but it's the only place you haven't won with 20-plus starts.
Yeah, I do pay attention to the tracks I haven't won at. It's more on the front side, going to the event and building excitement about racing at the track and wanting to win. When the race starts, it doesn't go through my mind at that point. It has when opportunity slips by, especially here. We've been so close that it certainly enters my mind at that point. But we've had varying issues here, and the only consistent one I would say has been fuel mileage. We've worked hard to improve the car, and then I've worked real hard on my driving style to get better fuel mileage here. And it seems like we've covered that gap, but we still, we've had a mechanical or two. We blew a tire this spring, the last time here. So there's been a lot of reasons why, but I really look forward to the day I'm able to pull into victory lane over there.
We'll take our next question from David.
David Caravella, NASCAR.com. Kyle Busch was in here this morning, and he was asked about Kyle Larson. He said, Larson could be one of those guys who doesn't win a whole lot in the Nationwide Series. He could be like Jimmie Johnson and win 60 races at the Cup level. Do you think you were an anomaly in the fact that you had so much more success at the higher level? And would you remember what clicked for you when you moved up?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I look at Stewart's Nationwide career, and I think our paths were kind of similar, where we didn't have great success in Nationwide. For me, when I started in Cup, that was my 5th year ever in a stock car. So I think I was really green in my Nationwide days, not only as a rookie in the sport and the cars and the tracks, but stock cars in general. I mean, I had 2 years of ASA prior to my Nationwide, first year of Nationwide. So I think I was just behind, and the right circumstances came together, being at Hendrick and all of that, and then my maturity level in the car and understanding everything came along and kind of peaked at the right time. But when I look at the Nationwide Series today, and I haven't driven one of those cars in a while, there is great benefit to be in the series and to learn the tracks and kind of learn the basics and fundamentals of adjustments on the car. But I think you can get trapped in those cars too long and develop habits that don't work in the Cup Series. The Cup cars have so much more power, and you got to drive them so differently that I think it can do some damage if you stay too long in the Nationwide Series. I agree. You don't know until you get in there. And when you look at Kyle's background, and he's driving cars with far more power than grip, I think a Cup car will suit his style far better than a Nationwide car. But you do need that foundation of knowing these tracks, because when we show up, our fastest lap we run all weekend will probably be our first lap right now. And if Kyle Larson was to go to Cup next year, that's tough to do. He's going to need the whole session to get where he needs to, and then you're 5-6 adjustments behind the fast guys. And that's where the Nationwide Series is so good. You can learn the tracks and understand some things there, but you just got to be careful to not stay there too long.
Okay, we'll take our next question. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dave Garicki, Detroit News. Could you talk about the Gen 6 car, why you have been so successful this year, and what would a win here at Michigan mean, especially after being so close so many times?
Well, Gen 6 car, I think Hendrick does a very good job of responding to new rule changes or rules that are put out, new cars, whatever it may be. And, not always, but most times we get on top of stuff faster than others. And I think that's been a big benefit for us and plays into the Gen 6 car in the success that we've had. A win here would be awesome. It would be a huge victory to win here. I mean, especially with how close I've been. We've had at least 5 or 6 that could have happened.
Okay, we'll take one from Claire, then go to Lee.
Claire Beelang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. It's always fascinating to ask you how you learn to be better at a racetrack. And for you, breaking it all down, fascinating. What is tough about Michigan that you find difficult as you try to master and win at this track?
Right now, the track is so different than it's been in the past that, you know, you've got to maintain track position is really the key. In the spring race, we didn't qualify well, but we were able to get to the front. And then through pitch strategy, we lost track position a few times, and were able to recover. But in the end, it ultimately, you know, ran the right front off the car and blew a tire and hit the wall. So I think the secret to win here really falls into the hands of the engineer and the crew chief and what decisions they make late in the race to maintain track position. I think that's where the key is. For the driver, you know, when you're out there practicing, you're going so fast around here, and you're usually running by yourself that, you know, it's easy to set the car up to run great in clean air, and you don't always get that luxury. So being aware through practice sessions and even trying to run a little bit in traffic to understand the balance shift is going to be key today and tomorrow.
Okay, go ahead with your question, Lee.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. So were you surprised when you heard about the Juan Pablo Montoya news this week?
A little bit. I mean, Juan's been with Ganassi for so long that, you know, that did catch me off guard. You know, I'm used to seeing Ganassi winning races and running up front through, you know, the open wheel world, and I would imagine there'd be a shakeup at Ganassi through the off season. But that did catch me off guard. You know, they've been through some crew chiefs. If I look at the evolution of things, you know, you usually go through a couple crew chiefs and a driver change, and that's kind of what's going on. So, yes, shocked, but the more I think about it, I feel like there was some change coming there.
Did you think that he had the potential? I mean, we've seen Dario try it. I mean, heck, you know, back in the day, we saw Steve Kinser, you know, come in, and I mean, champions from other disciplines have come in and tried to make a go out of this. And, you know, what is it that makes it so difficult to make that transition?
Yeah, for me, I feel like you need 5 years to really know the tracks and the cars, and that was really my evolution through the ASA ranks into Nationwide and then Cup. So, you know, Juan's at that 7 or 8 year mark. So, you know, you kind of get to a spot where you've got the experience, and there's many reasons why things might not work. And I firmly believe in the relationship between a driver and a crew chief is where the magic lies, especially once you pass that 5 year mark. You know, one thing that I don't have firsthand experience with is driving a high downforce car. But in talking with Juan and talking with Dario, even Danica, you know, it is such a different world in a high downforce car than what our vehicles do. So there are challenges there that I don't understand, and sensations that I don't get and understand. And through all that, I've been kind of curious to watch a driver go from stock cars into open wheel. You know, would it be as difficult, or would it be easier for a driver to go from a low downforce situation to a high downforce situation? You know, where that would be. But either way, I think that, you know, and I guess my situation isn't exactly true, but when you race against people that started off thinking sedan style vehicles at a young age, you know, that's all they've known their whole life. I think there is something in that, and I say that, and that's not my situation, but I want to believe there is something in that too, where running in open wheel vehicles his whole life, and the same for Dario or Danica, there's just things that are ingrained in their habits and their way they drive that may not apply to what a stock car needs.
Okay, final question, Wolfgang.
Wolfgang Monser from Rennsport Press, Germany. Jimmy, you mentioned earlier that you go testing. Can you maybe put some fingers in areas on the Generation 6 car where there's something to improve? Aero package, engine package, is there anything you get an advantage over the rival cars?
Over the rival cars?
Rival teams, sorry. Rival
teams,
teams, rival manufacturers.
Yeah. You know, we spend so much time trying to get the cars in the ideal aero situation, and that's really the faster the car goes, the more importance aero plays. We're breaking track records everywhere we go, so speeds are up, and the aero balance is more and more important. and we're going to great lengths to get the right attitude in the car and the proper downforce, maximize the downforce that's available, and that's really where we're at right now. So as long as we can keep working in those areas, and I think that leads to the troubles that we have on some tracks with passing, because you're so aero dependent that when you lose the aero assistance and you're just sitting on the setup, the mechanical setup of the car that's underneath it, the car isn't ideal at that point. So, but that's the world we live in. Aero is everything.
Jimmie, thank you for your time this morning. Maybe we'll see you back here on Sunday.
Hope so.